Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Start U of G course selection session. My name is Jen. I'm a member of the START team here, and I'm helping you prepare this summer for starting fall of 2026. Now, before we get started, this session is for students in the Bachelor of Landscape Architecture program. If this isn't your program, please check the START guide for your program session date and time. If you have missed your specific program, don't worry. Recordings of each session will be posted in the START guide as well that you can reference later on. Now, today we're going to show you how to select courses here at U of G. Carrie from Academic Advising will be here to help you in one of your biggest summer tasks as a new university student, which is course selection. Course selection plays an important role in completing your studies, and we are here to help you. This webinar today has a question and answer feature that you can add to your questions for our presenters. Please know that questions are anonymous. If you have a specific question that would require you to discuss personal information, please do not post any personal info in our chat, like student numbers or financial info. Please email start@uoguelph.ca instead. Now, before we fully dive in, it's important for us to take a moment to acknowledge the land that we are on today. With great respect, the START team acknowledges that the University of Guelph resides on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe and the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize that today is the gathering place of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging them reminds us of our relationships to this land where we all learn and grow. As a new Griffin, it is incredibly important to understand the importance of land acknowledgements and why we do them. To learn a little bit more about them, we encourage you to visit our University of Guelph Land Acknowledgement website to educate yourselves a little bit more as you prepare for your time here at Guelph. Okay, now officially introducing ourselves. My name is Jen McCluskey, and I'm the coordinator of transfer student programs here at U of G. I work with the START team to help you throughout your transition into and through your first year at the University of Guelph. And I'm joined today by a couple other folks.
Hi everyone, my name is Kimia. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm part of the START orientation team. I help run events over the summer and get you ready for fall. And I can't wait to see you guys in orientation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kimia. And I also have the pleasure of passing things off to our academic advisor for the Bachelor of Landscape Architecture program, Carrie. Uh, Carrie, thank
Thanks,
you so
Jen.
much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Kimia. So happy to be here today, and thank you so much to the START team for all they do for incoming students. And I know that they're busy planning a lot of fun events for O Week for the first week of classes at the university. So to introduce myself again, my name is Carrie Devitt. I'm the academic advisor for all students in the Bachelor of Landscape Architecture program. I'm an academic advisor for a few other programs as well at the university, but I am your primary point person for questions about registration. I will be there at your orientation session, and I will be with you all the way through to graduation. So that's my goal, is to empower students to make informed academic decisions toward graduation and get there to the end goal at some point. My office is in Johnston Hall, so if you're ever looking at a map, I'm easy to find. I'm pretty well in the center of campus, and Johnston Hall is the really old iconic stone building with a giant clock tower at the top of it, and I'm right in the middle doors. So that's where my office is. It's super easy to find. And I meet with students in person. I can meet with students on Microsoft Teams, which all students have access to. So lots of ways to get a hold of me if you have questions. Email is also a great way to get a hold of me. So my email address is cdevitt@uoguelph.ca. Feel free to email me with questions. Please use your brand new @uoguelph.ca email address. So we have had situations in the past where people trying to contact us from non-UOGuelph email addresses Sometimes those emails get lost. They get caught in spam filters or junk filters. So please use your brand new, get used to using and checking your brand new @uoguelph.ca email address and use that to send your emails to me. A little bit about myself. I am a University of Guelph alumni. I've worked here for a lot of years. I'm a University of Guelph parent as well, two-time parent. And I'm an outdoors person. I'm a farmer and I'm a cat mom. So the little picture you see on the slide there is my cat Wilfred. So anyway, I'm an animal lover, I'm an outdoor lover, and the University of Guelph is a wonderful place to spend time. We do have our 400-acre arboretum on campus, as well as many green spaces that you will become familiar with as a Bachelor in Landscape Architecture student. Just to share a little bit more about academic advising at the University of Guelph and what is it, what do I do? So I do meet with students to help when things are kind of go sideways. So if you miss an exam, if you need to request academic consideration for any reason, if you have questions about policies of the university, I'm your go-to person for all of those things. We could talk about graduation requirements, electives, if you want to go on exchange, so I can answer questions about all of those things. Primarily at this point in the next couple of weeks for sure, we're going to be academic advising is going to be helping students with course selection. So that's why we're doing this video to give you a little bit of an introduction to what you need to know for course selection. Academic advising is part of a team. I'm the academic advisor, but there is a faculty advisor for the BLA program, and that is Brendan Stewart. Brendan can be contacted at blapc@uoguelph.ca. Brendan can answer questions about the internship option for the program, career advice, program specific, course specific questions. So he's the faculty advisor. He teaches in BLA and he is located in the landscape architecture building. Course selection. So to tell you a little bit more about course selection and what to expect, the University of Guelph uses a platform called WebAdvisor. There are tutorials to learn how to use WebAdvisor, and I strongly recommend in this next little bit of time before your course selection window opens or starts that you get really familiar with using WebAdvisor. The more savvy you have with navigating that WebAdvisor platform, the better off you'll be. There are a couple steps to course selection in WebAdvisor. The first thing you're going to do is plan the courses and sections you intend to register for fall and winter. At the University of Guelph, we register for fall and winter at the same time. So starting soon. Your window, your course selection window for BLA students coming in with 0 credits is going to start on Friday, July 10th at 8 a.m. If you're coming to us with transfer credits, your window will open earlier than that. So Friday, July 10th is one of the later course selection window dates. It is the last day actually that windows open. Once your window opens, it'll be open for quite a while, but that's the soonest you'll be able to register. So you're going to plan your courses first. When you're planning, we're going to refer to the registration guide to figure out what you need to plan for. When you're planning your courses, I always recommend for electives that you choose a few backup courses, just in case the course you were initially planning for has filled by the time you register. Please know that once you've registered for courses, you can make changes to your schedule. So like I said, once that window opens, it's open for a while. For fall, it's open all the way to September 18th. So you can check back for space in other courses. You can also put yourself on a wait list for a different course. And then if you get a wait list offer, you drop the course you registered for and register for the waitlisted course. So that's a thing. So you can add yourself to multiple wait lists. That's an option for sure. On the day your window opens, so because we're opening at 8 a.m. on July 10th, you're going to want to be up, logged in to WebAdvisor and ready to go once your window opens at 8 a.m. So there is a crowd handler platform that's kind of overlaid on WebAdvisor. So there's a queuing system, but you want to be in there and ready to go. You may have to wait a little bit to to have access to your actual course selection, to be in there to register, but starting at 8 a.m. is when everyone will have a chance. You may not get all of your first choices of 5 courses for fall and 5 courses for winter in one go. Course selection stays open till September 18th, like I said, so you'll have to keep checking back if there's a course that you prefer to be in. There's an opportunity to make change if space becomes available. Next slide is about common terms in course selection, and I already used quite a few. So course selection windows, is to recap on that. Our course selection registration period opens in windows. It starts with the upper year students registering first, and then kind of moves through, and incoming students get to register toward the end. But then once your window opens, it's open for quite a few months, actually. So you do have time to come back, but that's just to kind of visualize how course selection works. Once your window opens, it stays open until the very last day to add for any given semester. Credits. So courses at the University of Guelph are all worth a differing amount of credits. The most common credit weighting for courses is 0.5 credits. There are 1.0 credit courses, and in BLA especially, there are courses worth 0.75 credits. It's important for you to know that the maximum credits you'll be able to register for in any given semester is 2.75 credits. You won't be able to register for more than that. So if you're trying to decide between courses and you're thinking, oh, I'll just register for both and then just later, the system will cap you at 2.75. So you'll have to make your decisions. And then if you change your mind, go back in and drop to make room, credit space to add whatever else it is that you're changing your mind to. The way the schedule of studies is laid out for BLA is it's laid out in 8 academic semesters, and the total credits required to graduate is 20 academic credits. Okay, so it's divvied up between the semesters, but you need 20 credits to graduate. Most BLA students complete the program in a full-time capacity. Full-time, the definition of full-time at the University of Guelph has recently changed. It is 1.5 credits and above. Most students take more than that, but not all. So if you want to talk about taking a reduced course load, still being full-time, what that might look like, please book an appointment to meet with me. I'd be happy to chat with you about that. Bachelor of Landscape Architecture has many courses within it that have other courses as a prerequisite. And so if you deviate from the chain of required courses, it could significantly impact your completion time. Electives are another matter. You can take electives in summer. You can save electives for the very end and tack on an extra semester. So there are options, but our advice is to stick to the schedule of studies as outlined in the undergraduate calendar. Electives, we're going to talk about what are electives. Electives are courses in any subject area, any level for this degree program. There's no major for your degree program, but you could consider declaring a minor to which your electives would apply. So the number of electives in the program depends on whether you do internship. It depends on a few things, but you do have lots of space for electives. In order to search what subject areas you want to look at for electives, on WebAdvisor, you can navigate by subject area, so you can see what all is offered in different subject areas. If you have questions about this, if you have questions about minors or trying to navigate or find things, please email me, cdevitt@uofguelph.ca. I'd be happy to answer questions about those things at any time. You don't need to declare minor right away. I'll tell you that right off the bat. Okay, work terms and course selection. So the undergraduate calendar, I've already referred to the schedule of studies. So each degree program at the University of Guelph has a schedule of studies associated with it. Basically, it's the rules for what you need to graduate from that program. Those schedules of studies are in the undergraduate calendar. way back in the day when I was an undergraduate student, it was a book and everybody got a book and here's your undergraduate calendar for that year. They don't publish a book anymore. It's all online, but every year there's a new schedule of studies, a new undergraduate calendar that comes out. The calendar has things like policies of the university, different course descriptions, obviously your schedule of studies for your program. It also has important things like next thing in the slide, schedule of dates. So we always publish a schedule of dates for the upcoming semester. So you know when the exam period starts and ends, you know when your winter break is going to be, all those kinds of good things. So you can plan ahead as needed. WebAdvisor, again, I mentioned this already, but WebAdvisor is the platform that you plan and then register for courses. I'm using kind of a pause for that because it is 2 steps. You plan first, you go in, you look at sections, you create a timetable for fall, and then you go in and create a timetable for winter to plan your courses. It's kind of like putting things in an Amazon cart. The next step is actually registering for those courses. So again, you'll be able to register starting July 10th at 8 a.m., but you can plan now. So the schedule is up. I don't think there's going to be huge changes for this program. Some courses are still getting ironed out their timetable, but for BLA, I believe that all the courses that are in there, that's the time they're going to be happening at. So you can go in there, play around, pick a schedule, look for electives, and then you'll go back on WebAdvisor and you'll register for your courses. WebAdvisor is also where you'll see your tuition bill. So at this point, you have a registration deposit that was due on June 15th. It's not too late. If you haven't paid that yet, please do that as soon as possible. That $500 for domestic students tuition deposit needs to be paid and processed before you'll be able to register for courses. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. But that's where it doesn't show as an amount owing, which is kind of strange to me, but you do need to pay. You do need to be able to see that you have a negative $500 balance showing, like the credit showing on your account before you'll be able to actually register for courses. When you apply to graduate, you apply to graduate on WebAdvisor too. So it's used for all kinds of things at the university.
Carrie, we have a question in the chat. They're asking, what are the most common electives for BLA students?
Okay, this is a great question. It depends on your interests. So the University of Guelph, we have lots of different subject areas. A common elective in first year, we have a university learning course. So like learning about how, like your learning style, what it's like to learn at the university. So that's Univ 1000. That's a popular free elective for sure. If you're looking for other elective ideas, I'm happy to have that conversation with you. But I encourage you to look at subject areas in WebAdvisor to see what all we offer. Maybe you want to take language courses. Maybe you want to take courses toward a certificate, some environment courses. So we do have those kinds of courses offered as well. Some people have a strong preference not to do online courses. So of course, if you're looking at any courses that have a section that says DE for the section DE01, that's going to be an online course that might inform your decision. Yep, so I'm happy to have that conversation over email. I don't have just like a list of the most popular free electives, but depending on your interests, if you email me with a few things that you potentially are interested in, whether it be geographies, histories, those kinds of things, then I can make some suggestions. I'm going to interrupt my own self and just make sure that everyone understands this too. So at the University of Guelph, there are restrictions put in place for courses. Okay, so your BLA courses will have restrictions so that the spots in these courses are saved for people in your program. Similarly, there will be restrictions on courses in other subject areas. So for example, we offer courses on Indigenous environmental science. Those courses are restricted to students in the BIESP program. Those are permanent restrictions. They don't get lifted. That keeps those spots in those courses for students in that program. Some courses will have a temporary restriction so that the department wants to give the opportunity for students who absolutely require those courses to register for them first. And then the restriction could be lifted later on. allowing other students to register. So remember I said, like, pick what you can, and then if there's something that you have in mind that you want to take that is restricted, you can go back and see if the restriction gets lifted. In my auto reply, so if you email me, you're going to get an auto reply that has a lot of information. I actually have a link to the restrictions list. Not sure, Jimmy, would it be possible for me to put a link to that restrictions list in the chat?
Yes, if you go to the Q&A chat in the
Just
pinned message, you should be able to send a message.
okay, maybe that's showing up. So just shared it there. So hopefully it
Oh, yeah,
shows
I
up
can-
for everyone. Okay, right on. So the restrictions list. So it's really important to pay attention to. If you're trying to register for something and it's giving you an error that you can't, if it is possible that that course is restricted. So please check back. Okay, so registration guide for new students. I'll kind of move forward into the slide that's on the screen right now. There's a great big QR code in the corner. So if you have not already perused the registration guide, I would suggest looking at the QR code, get your phone out. You can navigate your way to the registration guide easily that way. Admissions sends out the registration guide, so you will have a link to it in an email somewhere. So the registration guide, once you're in there, and you'll see 3 red bars on the right-hand side. The middle one is program information. So you're going to navigate to that bar, and then it'll list all the degree programs at Guelph. If you find BLA, then you can open that page, and then you'll see information there that I put in there to tell you what courses you're going to be looking for fall and winter. So the required courses, it's really, really important to register for those required courses. My challenge for you, though, is when you're navigating that program information page to look for your schedule of studies. So I put a link to the BLA schedule studies in there. So please have a look and navigate your way to that schedule of studies so you can see what the future holds for you in terms of your degree completion. So this is what the page looks like when you navigate to the program information. I have a little like starburst in the corner. LARC 1100 is absolutely critical that you must take this course in first semester because, as I was mentioning before, it is a prerequisite for other core courses in this program. You absolutely need to get it in the fall. If something happens and you don't get a required course or it's full or something like that, please email me so that I can help you navigate what to do. So semester 1 will have 2.5 credits in it. And that starts with that LARC 1100. LARC 1950 is the History of Cultural Form course. Biology 1500 is a required course for you. And then you pick one of the anthropology, philosophy, sociology, or psych. So you pick one of those 4, and then one other elective. And that elective can be whatever you can get into that you know, if there's a prerequisite for an upper year course, obviously you won't be able to take it, but something that doesn't have a prerequisite and it doesn't have a restriction on it. Again, if you have questions about what elective should I take, please let me know a little bit about yourself and what you're interested in. That'll help me make a suggestion for you. In semester 2, you're actually going to be registered again in 5 courses, but it's going to total 2.75 credits. So this is the fun thing about BLA is it's like funny math there because not every semester is 2.5 credits like it is for other programs. Sometimes you have 2.75, and that's often because of the LARC studio courses that are worth a little bit more. Maximum, again, you can register for in any semester is 2.75 credits. So in winter, you're going to be in LARC 2020, LARC 2230 planting design, 2420 materials and techniques. And then you have to take also philosophy of the environment. So thinking about the environment from a bit of a different perspective, but that's a winter only course, something that's required for you. And then again, you have room for one elective at 0.5 credits. So again, if you have the prerequisite for it and it's not restricted, you should be able to register for whatever you're interested in. WebAdvisor is the main platform used for course registration, as I mentioned. So when you're navigating and you're looking at your my progress in WebAdvisor. You'll be able to see a progress bar at the top. If you're coming in with 0 credits, there won't be any green, but once you start planning, there will be yellow. So the yellow indicates planned courses. So that's how you know that in the system, it's recognized your planned courses. And then you can see within your plan schedule and drop, there will be a schedule view that looks like a weekly grid. The exam schedule is not loaded yet, so you won't see anything about final exams on there, but you will be able to see what courses you're registered for. Once you're registered, if you want to double check, like after July 10th happens and you actually can register for your courses, if you want to double check that the system has you registered and what you think you're registered for, there's a print button. Right above that calendar view with the weekly calendar, there's a print button. And if you press that print button, it doesn't actually print anything, but it will show you a page that has like text on it that will say very clearly registered, and it'll say the course code. So that's a good way to double check to just ensure that you have actually successfully registered in courses. Okay. We're not actually going to show these videos because they're kind of longish. They're 7 minutes or so each, but there are WebAdvisor tutorials. So if you're watching this video after the fact, you can watch those videos. You can also navigate to those WebAdvisor tutorial videos through the registration guide. So once you get to the registration guide, if you scroll almost all the way down, there's WebAdvisor information to learn how to use the system. Look at the a bit dry, maybe the videos, but worth watching just so you have a real handle on how the system works overall. Course selection for transfer students. I said this already. If you're coming in with AP credits or any transfer credits at all, your course selection window is going to open earlier than the July 10th at 8 a.m. that I mentioned for students coming in with 0 credits. So if you're coming in with credit at all, 0.5 credit, you will be able to register a bit earlier. So make sure you're really investigating when your window might open. I would be very happy to meet with you if you're a transfer student. Most likely you're coming in with transfer credits that are going to be used towards your electives in the program, which just means that you get to take a bit of a reduced course load in the semesters that have electives, right? So depending on how and when you sort of decide to use those transfer credits that you came in with. So happy to look at it with you, happy to explain and sort of talk about planning with you. And if you email me, I will know you're out there. So yeah, please contact me if you have any questions about being a transfer student. High school transfer credits, like I mentioned, like some students come in with AP credits or IB credits, right? So if you're coming in with something, it will show on your WebAdvisor that you've been granted that credit. If you have questions about where do I see and how do I know what I have, please email me. We'll look at it together. I don't mind at all. And more than likely, it will be that transfer credit will be used towards your electives, and it'll be used toward the 20 credits you need to graduate. Course selection for international students. So we have a GPS advisor team, the global pre-arrival specialists. So those advisors are there for transition questions for international students, questions about immigration, what you need to be eligible to work when you're here doing your studies. The program does have an internship component. So if you have any questions about your work eligibility, anything like that, before you arrive, you can contact the GPS advising team at gpsadvisor@yourwealth.ca. If you have questions about being an international student, what the rules are, what you need to know about a post-graduation work permit or anything like that, once you're here, the international student advisors are the best people to connect with. So Ernest and Matthew be happy to answer your questions. If you're not able to find the contact information for them, email me. I'm your point of contact person. So I certainly can refer you, but we just wanted to let you know that those supports are available. Important dates and deadlines. So I talked about the registration deposit already. The reason I'm laughing is it's really critically important. So that deposit needs to be paid and processed, and sometimes that can take a couple days to show up. So I know June 15th is the deadline and that's passed. It's not too late. There's no like late fee for not paying the registration deposit. It just needs to be in there as a minus $500 credit for domestic students before you'll be allowed to register for anything on WebAdvisor. So don't be that person that's like, oh, why can't I register? Oh, I owe some money. And then it takes time for that payment to get processed. So this is something you can pay attention to now if you haven't already. July 10th, I feel like it's the fourth time I said this date. So July 10th at 8 a.m. is when the course selection window will open for BLA students coming to us with 0 credits. Your semester bill will be posted on WebAdvisor in late July. Your semester bill isn't due until September 18th. So in September is when you have to actually pay that your tuition bill, but it will be posted, I guess, later in July. So I don't do the finance stuff. I don't actually have access to your student financial account, but we do know that it will show for you in WebAdvisor. September 10th is the first day of classes. It feels late to me to be that late or on into September, but in fall semester at the University of Guelph, the first day of classes is always a Thursday. So it's the Thursday of orientation week. We will be having an academic orientation meeting on the Wednesday, September 9th that we'd really love for you to join us for. You'll get more information about that a little bit later on in the summer, but save the date. We want you to be here for September 9th. And then the start orientation team will have awesome fun activities throughout that whole orientation. We encourage you to take advantage of all the activities you can, get to know people, and then come to your academic orientation on the 9th and meet people in your program. It's going to be awesome and so much fun. And then September 18th, that's that payment deadline for your fall semester tuition, but that's also the very last day to change or add courses for fall or change sections for courses for fall. You can drop fall courses until the last day of classes in fall, but this is going to be the last day you can make actual changes to your schedule for fall semester. Winter semester has its own timeline. It's January 15th. So if you decide to change up your elective, you meet somebody when you start here and you're like, oh, they're in a different elective in winter and I want to take that one too. You potentially have the chance to change up your winter schedule up until January 15th. So we're very dates oriented at the University of Guelph. There's deadlines for everything, it seems, but just so you know that those dates are out there. And if you ever have questions about when do I have to do this by or whatever, just email me. I'm happy to share that information if you can't find it yourself. Okay, so we just have some frequently asked questions slides just to try to help sort of circumvent or head off at the pass some of the questions that you might be having. How many credits do I take in a semester? So most full-time academic semesters at the University of Guelph are 2.5 credits. For BLA, sometimes it's 2.75 credits. So it just kind of depends on how it plays out. And then there are some semesters, like in winter semester of third year, where you take 2.0 credits. It all evens out by the end that you'll need 20 academic credits to graduate. Again, just kind of circling back to a concept that I talked about at the beginning is a full-time student at the University of Guelph is 1.5 credits. So if you need to sort of smooth out your academics or take a reduced course load for some reason, stay in touch with me. I'd be happy to answer questions for you about that. You can do that. Really, those LARC courses and the prerequisite chain involved is super important. So that's why I want you to connect with me if you're going to deviate from the scheduled studies, but 1.5 credits is considered full-time studies. How do I know what electives to take? I'm laughing again because this is a hard question because the electives you decide to take are a combination of what you're interested in, what you can get into that has space, you have the prerequisites for, and you fall within the restriction parameters. So it really depends what you're interested in. I would start with that. So if you're thinking like, oh, but I really loved geography in high school, I'd love to learn a little bit more about geography. That's great. We have a Geography 1220 course that is offered fall and winter that you could look to add to your schedule as an elective. That's a great one. But we also have courses like soil science. So if you're thinking like, hey, I love plants, I want to learn as much about plants as I can, the actual like ecosystem under the ground might be fascinating to you. So we do have an ENVS 2030 or 2060, sorry, course on soil science. So again, it depends what you're interested in. If you are just completely unsure about what you want to take, please email me. Let me know a little bit more about what you're interested in or what subject areas you might want to look at. And I can make suggestions, but really it's up to you what you want to take, what you want to learn while you're here at the university. And certainly that UNIV, so UNIV is the subject area, and 1000, so UNIV 1000 would be the course code for that university learning course, which, yeah, if you're kind of easing into things and you want to know about like what makes the university level different than high school, what kinds of things are going to help you in your planning and your absorption of information and learning. Every student is different, right? So if you want to learn about your learning style, that UNIV 1000 course might be of interest to you. What if a required course says it's full? Okay, for you, if a required course says it's full, email me. So you can email me at cdevitt@uofguelph.ca. The LARC courses are restricted, so only students in the program are going to be allowed to register for those. So I'm not super worried that you're not going to get into your required LARC courses. Courses like, so you have Biology 1500 in your first semester. Students in all kinds of programs are going to want to take that course, right? So if that course fills, please let me know and we'll talk about options. Like I said, once the window opens, it's open for a while. So you can add yourself to a wait list. The waitlist function on WebAdvisor. So if you go to register for something and it's full, then you should get a pop-up that asks you if you want to register or put yourself on the wait list. How waitlists work, I'll get into the details a little bit more on that here. You can be on multiple waitlists, way above the 2.75 credits. So if you want to be on 3 or 4 waitlists to see if you end up getting into a course, great, totally do that. Once you're on a waitlist, though, you need to check your @uofguelph.ca email every day. I'm not kidding. So if you're on a wait list, you need to check that email, because if a spot becomes available for you, and if you're like, I'm 30th on the wait list, they're not going to email me tomorrow, but what if the department batch opens? Quite a few spots in a course. So more than one person can get a waitlist offer at once. So you actually do really need to check that email, because I've got students email me before saying like, oh, I got the offer of a waitlist spot, but I thought they were going to add me to it. No, you actually have to take action, and you have a very specific time parameter in which to do that. So you have until once you get that email, no, not once you get, yeah, once the email goes into your inbox, they'll set a timeline of 11:59 p.m. the next day. And if you don't go in and actually register for that course, the spot gets offered to someone else. Like there's like a lot of nuances about these wait lists that are really, really important. So if you're on a wait list, again, pay attention, read your emails, take action. You need to make sure there's room to get registered. You only have room for 2.75 credits. You might need to drop something to add something off the wait list if you're offered a spot. So you can be on multiple wait lists, see what offers come. Like you can change your mind, register in something else if you get an offer before September 18th. The other thing I want to tell you, so if you're registering for a course that has multiple sections, you can only be on a wait list or registered for that course. You can't register and then wait and see if another section. You cannot be on a wait list and registered. You cannot be on multiple wait lists for the same course. So if you're on a wait list for a course with a lot of different sections, great, hang out there, hope for an email, but keep checking WebAdvisor, because what if a spot pops up in another section? You will not be notified of that because you're on a wait list for a very specific section. Again, I'm really kind of being dramatic about this, but wait lists is a very nuanced game. It's not a game, I realize that, but there's a lot to understand about wait lists. Okay, why is a course restricted? So I explained this a little bit already too. So your landscape architecture courses are restricted so that only landscape architecture students can take them. And the reason is because there's a finite amount of room in the labs, in the studio space for your courses. So we really don't want other people in those courses. There are other programs at the university that have specific required courses that just for them. So those restrictions are out there for a reason, especially for program-specific restrictions. There are some courses at the university that are very popular, but they are required for specific programs. So these might be a temporary restriction, meaning we'll like hold the spots, put the restrictions so that everyone in that program that needs the course should be able to register first. Then they'll lift the restriction. And so you can circle back later on in a semester when the restrictions are lifted, potentially, hopefully they all get lifted at some point. And then you can circle back and change your mind if you do see a spot in a course that you're previously hoping to get into that was restricted. So a couple different reasons why restrictions might exist. I don't think this is going to impact you as much, but there are courses that are going to have restrictions just on specific sections of the course. So that's why I shared the restrictions page. It's really important to read in detail. You'll see there's a bajillion restrictions, but it's really important to understand, is it the section that's restricted or the entire course? And when is it restricted until? So they don't actually publish specific restriction lift dates, but once a restriction is lifted, they'll post that date. And I'm looking at it now, and I do see that they have July 29th listed for a lot of the restriction will be lifted on for fall on July 29th. And then there's a date a little bit later in early August where restrictions for winter courses are going to be lifted. So just read that restrictions page closely, especially if you're trying to register and you've hit a roadblock and you're not quite sure what's going on.
Okay, I think that's all of the frequently asked questions we popped into our slide deck here. We'll take a brief second to see if we had anything come up in our Q&A discussion board here. It doesn't look like we have any new Q&As in here. So at this time, if there aren't any other questions, I would like to say thank you very much to Carrie for all of her very fulsome advice and support and that very in-depth knowledge that we were able to receive about some of the specifics of the landscape architecture program. And how important it is to understand these courses for your first academic year and to set yourself up for success. That marks the end of our formal session today. If you would like more information or would like to watch the recording of this session after the fact, please visit startufg.ca where all of our sessions will be recorded. We'd like to say thank you very, very much for joining us today. Should you have any questions, please send us an email at start@uoguelph.ca. We're happy to support you. Thanks very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.